Parda Paneer Pulao is a stunning centerpiece for your dinner party. Your guests will not only relish the dish, but they'll be talking about it for days afterwards. It's a perfect dish for Diwali, pure vegetarian and a real stunning centerpiece. To make it, you will need to order some Roomali rotis from a restaurant or online. You will need really fresh paneer made the same day. And of course, a deep pot in which to set this Parda Pulao. Start off by dividing your paneer in two. Half will be crumbled, half will be cut into 1.5-inch pieces to be pan fried. The paneer really needs to be fresh because you're going to let this biryani sit in the fridge for about 10 to 12 hours before you serve it. Now fry the pieces of paneer in a pan with a little bit of oil. You want to fry it just until it's golden brown on either side. Don't overcook it because it will become chewy. Spice it up with a little bit of red chilli powder and turmeric. And cook this on a medium flame. Once it's done, light golden brown on either side, drain it out and reserve it on a plate. Now to grind the masala, you will need a variety of whole spices. Such as shahijeera, cumin, red chillies, desiccated coconut, cloves, cinnamon, some mace or javitri. All these need to be ground to a very smooth paste. Add a little bit of water to facilitate the grinding. Blitz it several times and make sure that it's not grainy when you're done. Now we're going to make the barista or fried onions. Thinly slice your onions. I use a mandolin and fry it in some oil. We're not making crispy onions here. We're making barista, which is kind of slightly softer, so you don't need as much oil. Cook this on a medium to high flame. Don't change the temperature of the flame once you've added the onions in. Cook it until it's golden brown. Keep the flame on while you drain the onions out and switch off the flame only once you've finished draining. Place them on a sieve. Place the sieve over paper towels and allow it to cool and drain completely and reserve these onions. Leave a little bit in and on high heat add the whole spices, cardamom, bay leaf, and then add ground onions. You will need a fair bit of ground onions for this dish because it's the body of the masala. Be patient and cook this, stirring constantly until all the water has evaporated. Now add tomatoes and continue to cook. Add a little more oil if required. Add some salt at this point. This will help to speed up the cooking. Make sure that the onions are totally macerated. Add some tomato puree or paste to this. Paste is preferable because it has less water content and a more intense color. Mix this thoroughly and continue to cook until the tomatoes are completely pulverized. This takes a little bit of time, but patience really pays off. Now add a generous dose of garlic and ginger paste, preferably fresh. Mix it again to incorporate all the flavors and to cook the rawness out of the ginger garlic paste. Add some red chili powder, some turmeric powder and mix again. You have to cook this masala until oil begins to leave the sides. Now add the ground paste of coconut and the various spices that you had prepared earlier. This burns easily, so lower the flame a little bit and continue to stir until the oil begins to leave the sides of the masala. Once that's done, lower the flame and put in your crumbled paneer. Mix it just lightly. You don't want to macerate this. You don't want it to become a pulpy paste. You want it to be crumbly. Now it's time to make the rice. Wash basmati rice and drain it completely. The rice needs to be dry when we saute it in this ghee. In a pressure cooker pan, heat some ghee, add some whole spices, cinnamon, bay leaf, black cardamom, and cook these until they release their flavors. Add drained basmati and gently stir it to coat it in oil. Now add an excess of water. We're going to cook this in excess water so that we get nice consistency and texture to the rice, so each grain is separate from the other. Now drain your rice in a sieve and spread the rice on a plate to cool. Retain the liquid. To this warm water, add your paneer masala and stir well. This will bring a little bit of moisture to that paneer masala and make it easy to spread over the rice when you're ready to layer the Parda Paneer Pulao. Be Careful while you stir, you don't want to mush up the paneer masala, you want it to be coarse with little pieces of paneer in it. Now take your deep dish and generously grease it with ghee or oil. This is important because it's going to help prevent the Roomali from sticking. Your Roomali roti should be a good size in the sense that they should fit into this dish you have chosen well. You will need about 3, but I generally order 4 in case one tears or there's some mishap in the kitchen. Open them out carefully. They should be sort of room temperature but not cold, and start to layer the dish with the Roomali. This is what's going to form the shell into which your Parda Pulao is going to go. The Roomali essentially is the Parda or the curtain that covers the Pulao. Start off with one on one side, gently with your fingers, nudge it into the corners of the dekchi or the pot. The ghee will help to keep it greased and prevent it from burning and sticking. The bottom has to be as hefty as possible because this is what comes in closest contact to the flame. Use the flat back of your ladle to press the sides together so that they don't tear. Now fill half the rice into the bottom of the dish. Press it down so that it is as flat as possible and it gets into all the nooks and crannies. Now put all the paneer masala on top and spread it about to evenly cover the layer of rice below. Once you've done that, you're going to put the remaining rice on top of it. I forgot to mention that any large whole spices should be removed before you start doing this layering. If you've missed it, you can just pull it out while you're doing the layering. Now top it with the remaining rice. Spread it so that you completely cover the paneer masala below. So here you essentially have a sandwich. Now pour your saffron milk over the top. This makes the dish aromatic and brings a little dash of color. Put the barista on top. You can also layer the paneer masala with some barista if you like. Now pull the ends of the Roomali together and tuck them over this layered rice. Brush the ends with ghee. This too will be cooked later, so it's important that it's well greased. Make sure that you close all the vents and that there are no open gaps or loose creases anywhere. Press down gently with your fingers. Keep brushing with ghee or vegetable oil. Then sprinkle with water on top to make sure that the Roomali stays moist. You can also apply the water with your brush. Once that's done, cover it with a lid, turn on the flame to medium and cook for about 15 minutes so that the sides begin to brown. Once that's done, take off the lid. Now you have the option of putting this in the fridge overnight to allow it to marinate. If you choose not to do that, grease a flat dosa pan which covers the top of your dish perfectly with some ghee and oil. Place it over the top of the patila which contains your Parda Pulao and flip it over. This flipping process should be done when you're ready to serve the Paneer Pulao. If you're marinating in the fridge, take it out, let it reach room temperature, and you're going to have to microwave it before you actually do the bottom layer. Cooking the base is the last part before you serve it, besides the garnishes. So this should be done when you're ready to serve the dish. Again, wash this carefully so it doesn't burn. Once the bottom is cooked and the dish is piping hot, transfer it to your serving platter. Now we're going to garnish it. Garnish it with a wreath of coriander fronds. You can also use parsley, though that's not traditional. Some fried nuts and such as almonds and cashews, raisins if you like, and then of course the pieces of paneer that you had fried. I also like to add slices of tomato, fresh tomato, because it brings some color to this. You can also use a few mint leaves if you like. You can sprinkle it with a little more red chili powder if you choose. Put some barista on the top as well as on the sides, and you are ready to go. You will need a very sharp knife to be able to slice through this, and a flat spoon, a spatula, in order to lift the slices of Parda Pulao. You can serve this with raita, papads, kachumbar, even a dal, though I think a dal might be excessive. It's a great meal on its own, a pretty much complete meal. You can also add peas to this if you like, certain vegetables if you like to this pulao, if you want to have a more nutrition in your pulao. So I do hope you will try making this Parda pulao and let me know how it turns out. Use a very sharp pointed knife to cut this into slices. Do it while the dish is very hot. Though, of course, when ooze rice is made, it's not necessarily always served piping hot. But in India, we like our food and our pulaus and biryanis to be hot. Serve this on a plate. You can eat it with your hands, you can eat it with a fork and spoon, and add some of the accoutrements and garnishes, a few pieces of paneer, some of the dry fruits, and the hari dhania. If you don't like coriander leaves, you can also use parsley. It's not traditional in India, but you can still make do with that. This is an absolutely delicious dish. You can store it in the fridge for a couple of days as well.